Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every week. This is Tuesday. We said we'd skip Monday because it was a bank holiday here in Ireland. Hope all of you had a really great bank holiday and had a lot of fun and all that kind of stuff. But as usual, comes around Tuesday, back to business as always. Let me know, folks, as well, if the sound is okay. We've a new microphone here tonight, new setup and stuff like that. So tested it earlier, sounded pretty good, but let me know if everything is all right if you're in the chat. We've got plenty to go through tonight. We're going to be talking transfers, Saudi Pro League again on the cards for a lot of players and stuff like that. Enzo Maresca confirmed as Chelsea manager. Mbappe's move to Madrid confirmed, mega money involved for a free transfer. Congratulations to Real Madrid. We'll be talking about the final as well, taking a look back at that as well. Flying solo tonight. Mark can't make it tonight. He's caught up in work. We're going to be talking about the approval from the Premier League for teams with connected teams within their groups to also compete in European competitions, namely Man United and Nice and Man City and Girona. So yeah, we'll have a little bit of talk about that. We're going to be talking about Everton's situation, 777 pulling out of the deal. I think in the long run, I think this will be a bullet that Everton dodged, but in the meantime, a lot of financial issues there at the moment. I know 777 are probably due money out of the club as well that they had pumped in and stuff like that, so we'll have to see what way that all pans out. But probably tough times still ahead from Everton. A lot of money caught up in the new stadium, and players may have to be sold. It looks like we're hearing that a lot of players were let go out of the academy over the last day or so, under 18s, under 21s. Some really, really talented players as well, players who had already been involved in the first team during last season as well. So shame to see them being let out, but no doubt they'll find a new home. We're going to be talking about other transfers as well, namely our own Caoimhín Kelleher, who's in action tonight against Dominic Szoboszlai. Ireland 1, Hungary 1. Adamida on 36. A beautiful cross in from Will Smallbone. Adamida flush on the head, centre of the goal, 6-yard box. No chance for the keeper. Brilliant goal. But straight away, Hungary strike back. I think it was on 40 or 41. Lang with the equaliser, and that's how it stands at the moment in the Aviva Stadium. 1-1 Ireland versus Hungary. So far, a good result. Ireland playing some good football, but under a little bit of pressure at the moment from the Hungarian team. Caoimhín Kelleher already after pulling off a couple of saves already. Let's go into the chat. Daz, what's the crack, my man? How are you? Hope you are good, my friend. Daz, let me know if the sound and the volume and everything is okay. Will you new setup here tonight? So it's always good to check that everything is okay, that the volume's okay, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, cheers, bud. But yeah, plenty to go through. Ross Barkley on his way to Villa Park from Luton in a deal worth around 5 million. We can have a chat about that. Ross Barkley did have a very good season at Luton last season. Certainly he was one of the standout players for them. Brilliant there. Appreciate that, my friend. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's okay, Noel. Cheers, Daz. Appreciate it, Paul. As always. But plenty to talk about tonight. Ball Salah, yeah, good Lord, Ball Salah, yeah, absolutely. And what's going on there, who knows? But of course, before we start the show, don't forget, folks, to check out our sponsor, Hogan Elite Trophy Hire, Mark's little side hustle, if you like, hiring out the trophies for special occasions, charity events, all that kind of stuff. Here's one with the Man United legend. You can see there, Brian McClare right in the middle, looking like Gandalf, as he always does. Tony's there, who was on the show, of course, as well. All the other legends that are always there. But if you are looking to top off that special occasion, if you like, head over to Hogan Elite Trophy Hire. They're on Facebook and they're on Instagram. Hit up Mark over there. He'll look after you. And of course, if you're a subscriber to the upper tier, he'll sort you out with a nice little tidy deal and stuff like that. So make sure you check it out. Acers is saying the Ball Salah, it suits him. It did, because the hair was getting a bit crazy anyway, wasn't it? And it was getting a bit patchy and stuff like that as well. So certainly it definitely needed a trim, that's for sure. Flying solo tonight, Daz. He had a late wedding crew came in to get fitted out for wedding suits and all that kind of stuff. So he said he's going to get caught up. He said if he got home in time that he would join us, but I sent him the link and all. But he probably won't get to join us tonight. But we will have him back on next week. Don't worry about that as we start our pathway and our road to the Euros, as they say, our road to Germany. So looking pretty exciting as well. So where do we begin? Let's begin, I suppose. If Romy Kenobi isn't here anyway, so but I would have liked him to be here to congratulate him. That afro has been a pain in the bollocks to watch him blow dry. I'd say he just washes it and just lets it dry because he never looks like it's combed or anything and all. It was crazy and all. Reminds me of that's how he looked, didn't he? Was when he was in he looked like that certainly when he was in Chelsea. I'm not too sure when he had moved on. No one on with me tomorrow night. That's flying solo tomorrow night. Decent show though. Decent show, lined up some good stuff to discuss. Going to be talking about Forbidden Door. Going to be talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling. LJ Cleary appearing on that Dominion show. So we'll be discussing that. The Irish flying the flag high again. Plenty of stuff to discuss tomorrow night, so it'll be a bumper show. So, or if anyone wants to jump on, let me know. You're more than welcome. We can have the crack, as they say. He was bald at Chelsea. That's right, yeah. I remember him when I was looking back. I remember the blue jersey and he's bald, yeah. Yeah, so there you go. Looks much better. Still 1-1 in the game there. Hungary and Ireland going in. The tackles are now starting to fly in. Doesn't feel like a friendly at all, but sure, that's the way it should be, isn't it? Right, so let's kick it off. Let's talk Real Madrid. What can we say? 15 times European champions. Unbelievable. I said I did a little review of it there the other morning. I think it was Sunday morning. I was having breakfast outside and I did a little review of it and stuff like that. And it was like, how do they do it? Every single time they just find a way, don't they? And they end up winning these trophies. And at times, a lot of the times, they're not even the best team on the pitch. Dortmund were unbelievable the other night. Created chances, just could not finish them. And if you don't finish your chances against Real Madrid, you will get punished. And the actual match the other night actually felt like a carbon copy, didn't it, of the match we played against them. Courtois being absolutely outstanding. Didn't get called on too much the other night, but when he did, showed his class. But I thought I'd use this picture with Toni Kroos heading off, obviously. What a player Toni Kroos has been. Just exceptional in that midfield with Modric. Just an incredible partnership there. And when you think about both players and how they've been great servants to this brilliant Real Madrid club and the dynasty that it's built up and all that kind of stuff, it was great to see him lift the trophy. And obviously it would have been nice if Dortmund had a lift as well with Marco Reus and all finishing up as well. That would have been pretty cool as well. But there were so many stories to this final that could have been written. And I suppose it's probably fitting with Toni Kroos leaving that Real come out on top and Tony lifts the trophy and stuff like that. Yeah, so an exceptional, real good final. End-to-end stuff. Both teams going for it and all. Unfortunately, Dortmund just couldn't find a way to get the ball in the back of the net. And when they did, it was offside. Real Madrid, of all people, the smallest guy nearly on the pitch, Carvajal popping up with a header. And then, of course, Vinny Jr. doing what he does, of course, popping onto a mistake from Maatsen, who I'm sure the boy will regret for some time to come, but you could see him being consoled and stuff like that and all. He was devastated what happened, but it was just a little too much for Dortmund, basically. Let's get into your comments. Jose Mourinho banned afros after seeing David Luiz. Yeah. Dortmund are missing a striker. Yeah, absolutely. Don Carlo, 5 winners. Yeah, it's incredible. And I seen that video. I don't know if you've seen that video today of Florentine Perez and he carrying the 15th trophy into the trophy room. And just the length of that walk, 15 of those trophies, like, it's mad. And he walking right along the corridor of the trophy room to place the 15th one right in the middle. Incredible. Incredible, as I would say, the dynasty they've created in relation to this competition is second to none. Absolutely unbelievable. And as a Liverpool fan, you know, we bet them way back when. But since then, we've met them a couple of times and we haven't been able to get the job done. But they're an incredible side, incredible club, and here they are. What do? 2 days after winning the Champions League, there they go. They just roll out Mbappe and they just keep on building on it. And that's been the discussions that we've had in relation to Liverpool, about myself and Dino, when we have been successful and when we did win the league and when we did win the European Championship, the European Cup. We didn't build on it. We sat back when we should have built on it, and that's the problem. Mbappe will be holding 16 next season. I've no doubt they'll be there or thereabouts, and I would not be surprised. And I would not be surprised if they went on a run similar to Zidane and they won the next 3 or 4. Because they're just going to build from strength to strength, and they're not even finished signing. With Mbappe even going in. What a deal, and we got word of that the other day. So I suppose it naturally brings us into that then. Here we go, Mbappe, and rolling him out and 100-odd million signing on fee, and then reported 15 million salary a year. I'd imagine that's net. Probably doesn't include image rights and all that kind of stuff. My guess is he's going to be pulling probably £1 million out of Real a week. And if he delivers anywhere near how he delivered for PSG and stuff like that, and also for the French team, he's going to be an absolute megastar there. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Real went on a run now, won the next 3, 4, 5. They can just do as they wish, and that's the way they do it, So hats off to them. A lot of jealousy on this side and stuff like that. When I seen him placing that trophy and I see all those Champions Leagues, all those European Cups, wow, incredible. That's all I have to say. Bruno Fernandes thinks he's worth 300 grand a week. He's certainly going to be testing Man United's resolve, isn't he? What do we think is going to happen? Is Man United going to pony up, or are they going to show him the door? Is he off to Saudi? Is he off to Bayern? It's quite a subdued transfer window at the moment, isn't it? It's waiting to kind of just and take off and stuff like that. And a lot of sort of deals going on at the moment. Obviously, some teams are, we're supposed to be getting word this week. There's going to be confirmation whether Ten Hag is staying or going. That'll be interesting. Look at this guy. Look at this guy jumping in. Hi from sunny Lanzarote. I know, I seen you on Twitter the other day at that pill party and all. Living it up, and fair play to you. I hope you're enjoying yourself, my friend. Cheap points, lovely weather. That's all you want. Have you been to Lineker's Bar? Or is that Tenerife? Is there Lineker's Bar in Lanzarote as well? I'm not too sure, but I hope you're having a great time, Dave. Enjoy every minute of it. If you see Arnie Slot over there, will you give him a shout and tell him to get on his heels there and throw out an old interview or something, or an announcement or something, will you? Because it seems that maybe we heard AI Arnie Slot or Timu Arnie Slot or something like that. So I've no idea. I'm in Playa Blanca, baby. Very nice. Very nice. Love that, Dave. Hope you're having a ball, my friend. Make sure you touch base when you get back and do a couple of showers or something, have a bit of crack, because this there's a few Arnie Slots, all right, lookalikes, absolutely, yeah, going around the head burnt off them, I'd say. But yeah, absolutely, Dave, live it up, my friend, live it up. Bruno Fernandes shown forbidden door. Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be interesting to see how it goes. 70 minutes gone, folks. Still 1-1. Adamida and Lang with the equaliser. Good showing here from Ireland so far. I think Hungary are ranked 26th in the world. So that's pretty impressive. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Bruno Fernandes. That could be a big triggering in there with all the talk around Marcus Rashford and various other players as well. So it'll certainly be interesting. But I mean, the real situation at United at the moment is to sort out that managerial situation. I'm sure Ten Hag is probably disgusted at how he is being treated and stuff like that, and all the leaks and all coming out again in relation to they've been hitting up other managers and other managers' agents and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's not good. So I think the feeling around the place at the moment is there's going to be an announcement this week, and it looks like Ten Hag may be shown the door. So there you go. FAI is like watching paint dry. It is, yeah. But they've a nice. In fairness, even though they pick Duffy and they pick Seamus Coleman and stuff like that, and all, there's generally a nice shape about them, you know. And you got to remember, what are we ranked at the moment? We're probably what, high 60s or something like that, or mid 60s or something silly like that. We're going up against ranking 26 here. You know what I mean? So we're putting on a decent show, in fairness, you know. So let's not knock it yet. Let's see what happens. Noel, I can get you a guess if you want for tomorrow, Noel. His name is Russell. Yeah, if he's interested in coming on, Daz, get him to come on, yeah, and we'll have a chat. Get him to hit me up or whatever you want, yeah, and I can send him over the link and everything, yeah. No hassle at all. Good crack. Always love getting people on and stuff like that. Acers, Thomas Tuchel is favourite for the United job. I seen that. I think United fans will go ballistic, would you? Now, I did say, I did turn around. I've had conversations with Darren about this United managerial position. Darren will hit the absolute roof and the roof above it if Thomas Tuchel gets the job. My view is if Thomas Tuchel goes in there, you will continue on the silverware. I think he'll bring some decent silverware to United, and I think you'll probably get 2 years maybe, and then after 2 years, then it gets a bit toxic and falls asunder. But let's see what happens. You know, maybe it might be different at United, but be interesting to see Thomas Tuchel going into United as well with the kind of structure that they're putting together. I wouldn't have thought that structure would have suited Thomas Tuchel, who I know likes to have quite a big influence in terms of players who comes in and all that kind of stuff. So let's see what happens there. But certainly Tuchel wouldn't necessarily be the fit for what they're trying to produce there at the moment, in my mind anyway. But yeah, I like Thomas Tuchel as a manager. I know he ends up going sideways at times and stuff like that now, but still, you know, he will be destroying tennis rackets. Absolutely, 100%. Dazzler, when's Dazzler on with you, Noel Wrestling Show? I mean, I'm not too sure. It's probably the following week to build up the Clash of the Castle. I'd imagine he'll be on for that, I'd say. This week he's on Thursday. I think we're going to be talking ball. We might do a mixture. We'll see. We'll see what's out there, because it's football news is tight at the moment. You know, a lot of people are holding fire. A lot of stuff coming out, getting linked to this, that, and the other, and all that. But when I'm doing those transfer shows and all, so much of it is just absolute nonsense and pony. So I don't like getting into it. It's quite jarring then, you know. When you're just talking about being linked with every player under the sun. When you listen to the links out there at the moment in the transfer window, you would swear Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United, and Chelsea are selling off all their squads, buying in whole new squads with the amount of players we're linked with. So absolute crazy. This boy, Enzo Maresca, has officially been unveiled as Chelsea manager, has already started pre-season with some of the players that are around, which is always a good sign. Enthusiasm is always a good thing and stuff like that. But Leicester did aim a slight dig, didn't they? At Maresca. They turned around and says, what was the statement again? We'd like to thank Enzo Maresca for the foundation he built here over 1 year or something like that. It felt like an awful kind of dig at the guy and stuff like that and all, you know. But look, I think if the likes of Chelsea come knocking, or United or Liverpool are playing teams like that, I mean, you know, you have to take that opportunity. You know, we seen it with Potter with Brighton as well. Maybe he looks back on it and regrets it. Maybe he might have done something a little bit different, stuff like that. But very, very, very difficult to refuse it. Really, really difficult. Yeah, City 115 court case November to last 6 weeks. I seen that all right. And they're also they've instigated their own arbitration court case starting, I think, on Monday, where they're taking the Premier League to court on a number of issues, which we will discuss. It's going to be very, very interesting. This is a shot across the bow here. It's kind of interesting, isn't it, that like the City case isn't until November, and how long has it been going on, and obviously information gathering and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's City, when they're taking the Premier League to Cork, and have them in there within the drop of a hat, 2 weeks or whatever it is. So it's crazy, but it's interesting. We were talking about it on our Watch Grab app group earlier, and you know, people were getting crossed over on the 115 and what this court case is about next week and stuff like that. They kind of, there's a subtle little link in there and stuff like that, but they're very, very different things. to speak about and stuff like that. And it's going to be very, very interesting. Could be a watershed moment both for the Premier League and for football. Very, very interesting in what they're challenging and stuff like that. Yeah, but Enzo Maresca, his era has begun, and it'll be interesting to see what way that goes. Our own boy who's playing tonight, Quavian Keller, still 1-1, 76 minutes gone, 1-1 still. Quavian in goal. We know how good Quavian Keller is. He's a top goalkeeper. He's been number 2 at Liverpool now. Probably long enough and probably deserves a move away. He's been linked with a move to Wolves. Jose Sa is looking to move on, is the story that's coming out of there, that he wants a fresh challenge. So Quavian going in there under Gary O'Neill would be a great move for Quavian going in there as number 1 at Wolves. I think it's probably, for me looking at it, it's probably the ideal move for him. Gary O'Neill's fantastic coach and stuff like that. So I think this will be a great move for Quavian. And best of luck to him if it happens. He's been a fantastic servant for Liverpool. He has sat in that number 2 spot. He's never really complained about it. The consummate professional. And when he's been called on to step into the breach for Alisson, he's never really let us down. He's been absolutely fantastic. Cup competitions, all that kind of stuff. His legacy at Liverpool is enshrined there. He's on the wall, of course, for winning a trophy, so he's on the mural and all that kind of good stuff. So fantastic stuff. And if Quavian goes, we wish him all the best. And Gary O'Neill, you're getting yourself one hell of a keeper if you get him. Olise and Sesko, 8 Chelsea, number 1, are Chelsea's number 1 and 2 targets. I believe United are heavily in for Olise. I was going to talk about that, but you've led me into it, so may as well talk about Sir Alex having a dinner date with Dougie Freedman, discussing Crystal Palace. And there's talk that this is quite a big deal, that apparently United are interested in 3 players there, namely Mark Gahey, Olise, and also Esse. And there's talk that they were trying to put together potentially a deal for all 3. I'm not too sure if they were interested in players going the other way. Certainly, Aaron Wan-Bissaka would be one that could potentially go the other way. That was his old haunt. So I'm sure he wouldn't be too bothered going back to London maybe or something like that if that was the case. I don't know if they're still talking McTominay and Maguire and various other players like that, Lindelof and stuff. Certainly a few that would be going out the door. But for Alex to be down there having a meeting with Dougie Freedman, it must have been a big enough deal. And the talk coming out of it was that it probably encompassed a number of players that they were trying to put together a deal for, which is interesting. And we know in the past, United trying to put these deals together, they just take forever to get it done. So it's good to see from a United point of view, if you're a United fan, some impetus being put in that place to get things going fairly fresh and fairly early. But that is the talk there at the moment. Ramsdale interested in signing for Liverpool. I think Ramsdale would be looking for a number 1 spot somewhere, and he wouldn't be getting the number 1 spot at Liverpool, certainly not off Alisson. We know Alisson there has been talk and there has been links in relation to a move to the Saudi Pro League. I don't see Alisson Becker going to the Saudi Pro League at this stage. I think he still has a number of really top years in him and stuff like that, and plenty of time to go to the Saudi Pro League. Now would not be the time to do that. But again, when there's change and all this managerial stuff and all, who knows? Lots of contracts up in the air at the moment. Again, I would stress we haven't seen our new manager. We haven't had that kind of announcement, that press conference, that unveiling that you normally get. Why? I don't know. Maybe this is the new approach. Who knows? But we shall see what happens. I did mention Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley heading back to Aston Villa in a deal, potentially $5 million. From Luton. He had a really good season last year with Luton. He was one of the standout performers for them, and now heading off to Aston Villa in a deal worth $5 million. Certainly he will be a very positive signing for them. Certainly he will bring a lot of competition into that area of the pitch for Unai Emery. So an interesting signing, and kind of Barkley is kind of an interesting one, because every time you kind of think his career is kind of flattened out at a certain level, he raises it up again, and gets a move and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. Also, with Villa going into the Champions League next year, they're going to need quite the squad. So they're obviously planning for that. And $5 million for Barkley with the season he's just had, that's a great bit of business for Aston Villa in terms of padding out their squad and prepping for Europe. So hats off to them. Getting business done. Getting business done. That's what you want. Getting business done. Let's talk about this is something that's been a bone of contention over the last year or so. Lots of talk, obviously, with the Ineos group going into Man United, taking that shareholding, but obviously having huge links and being heavily involved in Nice as well. The talk was this conflict of interest if they both got into Europe and if they faced each other and what way would it work and all that. Likewise, we have Man City with Girona, who had a fabulous season as well, died off towards the end, but their manager and their team had an outstanding season and they were flying up until about February-ish, I think it was. They were doing really, really well. Um, but how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this? Is this a conflict of interest? Should you be able to be competing in a tournament or in the same tournament potentially as a partner club in relation to your group and stuff like that and all? And how would you feel about that conflict of interest? We obviously have spoken at length about transfers and all that kind of stuff and how that would work out. But really the talk at the moment is really, well, if it comes up to it, let's suppose you're in the quarter final of a Champions League or the semi-final of a Champions League and City drew Girona. Would it be played in the spirit of the game? Or would Man City take precedent over Girona? Would it be that obvious? Would you get changed lineups? Would you get an unfamiliar formation being picked? All these kind of things to be considered. Let me know how you feel about that. I'm not too sure. I know a lot of clubs are going this direction. We've been linked. I know Michael Edwards is working on a potential deal with Toulouse. So a lot of clubs are going to be going down this road. Where it affects you is mainly in the European scene. So when you have the Champions League or the Europa League or the conference or whatever it is, that's where you have that kind of vested interest and that problem. Obviously, with transfers, they'll be scrutinised and they'll be looked at. So, for instance, if United want to bring Todibo in, that transfer will be heavily looked at and followed through by the Premier League, obviously, because it's two clubs kind of within the same group, if you like, dealing with each other. So it would have to be looked at extensively. But it'll be interesting to see how this pushes forward. But I know for a lot of the top clubs, they will be looking to make further links with European clubs out there. It seems to be the model that they're going for, along with how they're structuring their backroom staff and really appointing head coaches. I think the old days of these managerial appointments that take on a lot of that work, that's probably dead and buried at this stage now, and I don't think we'll see it again. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that, but it is an interesting one. How big is that level of interest and conflict of interest, if you like, these four clubs come to the forefront, but it's been agreed that they will play. So let's see how it pans out. Everton. 777 pulling out of the deal. I don't think the deal was ever going to happen anyway. It'd been sitting with the Premier League for a while now, and it obviously wasn't going to get approved and stuff like that. And based on what we were hearing in relation to the dealings with 777 and some of the other clubs they've been involved in, this might be a bullet that Everton have dodged. May not feel like it in the moment right now because of the financial issues at Everton and all that kind of stuff. But I think long term, if you look back on this in 4 or 5 years or something like that, and Everton is a club that's primed for an investor to come in and stuff like that. They're building that lovely, beautiful stadium down on the docks, coming close to completion now at this stage. But let's not forget about the history of Everton Football Club and all that kind of stuff. And even me as a Liverpool supporter and stuff like that, I often say I love the Merseyside derby. Didn't love it too much this year, obviously, but I love the Merseyside derby and its history and its lineage. And I often turn around and says, to make that city really be what it is, Liverpool, it takes two halves. You got your blue half and your red half, and that competition, that challenge and everything that's there is really, really cool in the history of it. So let's see what happens. But financially, I think they're in a little bit of trouble. They have been taking a number of people out of the academy, players that had featured in first team squads this season. So there is a couple of decent players in there. Probably clubs will pick up quite handy is to pad out their own academies. Maybe might be the way to go. But it'll be interesting to look at the financials. A lot of players being linked with moves away. Onana, Pickford even being linked with a move away and all that kind of stuff. And it would be very strange next season if Jordan Pickford was applying his trade somewhere else. To not see Pickford at Everton would be quite a change. But let's say obviously Calvert-Lewin also being linked with moves away and all that kind of stuff. So and the boy at the back, of course, Bramwaite as well. He's certainly heavily linked with a move away, and his one will probably happen. The problem is for Everton in the predicament they're in at the moment, are they going to be able to hold fire and demand the money that they want, or are these players going to go much more reasonably priced than what you would expect? But we will keep an eye on it as it all develops, as we always do. The special one, back in management again. Fenerbahce. Let's talk about Fenerbahce. Last weekend, lost the lead to Galatasaray. Galatasaray 102 points. Fenerbahce 99 points. Absolutely monstrous. And after the game, after losing the lead, they came out and there was flags of the president on the Fenerbahce walkway, and they were carving them up and all this kind of stuff and everything and all. It was absolutely crazy, and just goes to show that there's no sentiment in Turkish football. You either win or you lose. Now, it's interesting. They've brought Jose in. So it's going to be very interesting to watch Jose this season, especially as Fenerbahce try to weave their way through the qualifying stages now of the Champions League. But it'd be kind of cool if you had like Fenerbahce qualifying and going through, and maybe in this league system up against Pep or something like that. Jose versus Pep. I often say in this managerial thing with Klopp leaving, various other managers and stuff like that, there's a lot of we lose a lot of personality out of the league and stuff like that. And Jose was one of those guys. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see him back in the Champions League with Fenerbahce if that was to happen. But serious appointment from Fenerbahce, and obviously a message sent out, serious intent. Don't sleep on Fenerbahce next year, potentially for the Turkish League with Jose there. Now, the one thing we know about Jose is he's a winner and he likes to accumulate silverware no matter where he goes. So maybe if Fenerbahce even fall short in Europe, wherever they find themselves, don't be surprised if Fenerbahce qualify and end up getting dumped out of the Champions League into the Europa League and winning the Europa League or something like that. That could be maybe the pathway to trophies, or certainly they'll be in and around the league. But imagine losing the league. Imagine being the manager of Fenerbahce and losing the league with 99 points. Galatasaray reaching with 102 and you get fired. Ruthless. Absolutely ruthless. Where else are we? What else have we got to talk about? Yeah, more transfers out there. Obviously, Arteta's looking to be offered a bumper deal. Apparently, huge money being thrown around on the table for Arteta. Obviously, with the talk of Pep leaving next season, after next season, the talk is that Arteta could be tempted away to Man City as Pep's replacement. So let me know your thoughts on that as well and what you think about it and stuff like that. Just to let you know, 89 minutes now gone and it's 1-1 still. Lots of yellow cards being brandished at the moment as well for some reason. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. Arteta bumper deal. A lot of Arsenal fans not too happy with that. They've seen the season where there's been progress. There hasn't been any trophies, and that's supposed to be the measure. So should Mikel Arteta be getting a bumper deal? Or should he, what they might regard as being rewarded for failure? Or is it mainly just to warn off a move potentially to Man City? Let me know your thoughts. We also got word, obviously, leaving St. James's Park following the expiration of their contracts on the 30th of June. You've got Matt Ritchie, Paul Dummett, Lloris Karius, Kel Watts, and Jeff Hendrick are all exiting the building this June, the 30th, when contracts run out. We also got word the other day as well that Tottenham are extending Timo Werner's loan deal from RB Leipzig. That's going to be very interesting as well. I know a lot of Spurs fans came out. They weren't exactly happy by it. We also spoke about it earlier. Obviously, Al Nassr being nothing up Ederson and Allison for Saudi Arabia. I don't think either boy is going there at this stage. We spoke about Ross Barkley. Victor Osimhen seems to be the hot take at the moment as well in terms of forward players. Potentially linked with going to Arsenal. I don't see that happening. I think there's a lot of money involved in that. And I think Arsenal might look a little bit closer to home. The boy Isaac out of Newcastle potentially, but Newcastle looking like they may have to sell off some players. Bruno Guimaraes has been linked with a number of teams. I think he's been linked with Man City. I think he's been linked with Arsenal. I think that is it. But certainly will be interesting. Southampton striker Adams is set to depart St Mary's for Wolves on a free. Interesting move there. Interesting move. And I was watching the playoff game the other day, and I never had the playoff games there the other last week or whatever it was, and I forgot to mention it on the show last week that I was a bit miffed. Ireland have just scored, have they, in 90 plus 2 minutes. Ireland have just scored to take the lead 2-1 against Hungary. Brilliant stuff. Didn't catch who the goal scorer was because I was looking at the screen, but no doubt it will pop up. There's no doubt about it. Where are we? Fraud Teta, not even worth 20 cents, never mind 20 million pay increase. It's definitely not going to be 20 million. I don't know where they're getting those figures from. That just ain't going to happen. Who's winning the Euros, Niall? I think it's going to be between England and France, and it depends on what way the draw goes. Aces are going with France or Spain. I don't think Spain are going to win. I think Spain still have a lot of work to do. Joke giving this Muppet a bumper deal, contract for failure. Yeah, it's a tough one, Kyle. It's a very tough one to call as well. I know a lot of people want him gone and stuff like that. A lot of people are going to give him another year, see how it goes. I suppose when you're getting into the last year of your contract, you're rolling the dice. And I suppose if you give him a bumper deal and he ends up going anyway, you're going to end up... I suppose the one side of that is you're going to end up getting paid compensation. So if you did sign him up to a 4 or 5 year deal, if City want him, they're going to have to pay to get him. So you could be in for a bit of a windfall there rather than him going on a free. So it might not be a bad move. He's going to message you on X Null. Perfect, that is perfect. I'll hit him up and be all good. We'll have a bit of crack. Ace are spot on. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, lots of talk going around. Kyle, who do you want in at the club at the moment? Apart from the manager, who do you want coming in? Who are you looking for? Who would you like to come in? Isaac would be a good one. Tony has been spoken about. What positions do you want changed up? And how do you feel about France today? I seen France today. There was talk today that Konate and Upamecano are going to be the preferred pairing at the back with William Saliba on the bench. Which I was very shocked about because I would rate William Saliba above both those boys. Or potentially France may be going to play with a back. Why didn't France maybe think about playing with a back three and incorporate all three boys? For me, Saliba has been the much better defender than both Konate and Upamecano. Upamecano's had a terrible season. So let us know your thoughts on that. Big up, Kyle. Absolutely. Daz, you legend. There you go. That's what we love. But let me know your thoughts on that. I was quite shocked today when I read that Saliba would be number 3 choice, that it was Upamecano, and Konate for me was a very strange decision, I should say. Apparently Jadon Sancho does not want to go back to Manchester United. I think that will all hinge on that managerial decision this week as well. I think if Ten Hag exits the building, I think that gives an opportunity for Jadon Sancho to drop back in there and try and have another go. Just depends on his teammates and that whole kind of situation and how they feel. It's going to be very, very, very difficult for United to find a permanent home for him with the level of salary and all that he's on. Is absolutely massive. And Dortmund came out this week and they said, yeah, we'd love to have the boy permanently, but the wage and the package is just too much for us financially at the moment, which is fair enough. Chelsea have been shown an interest in Jordan Pickford. They're on red alert at the moment as this Everton takeover chaos has descended on the club and stuff like that. But let us know your thoughts on that. Could you see Jordan Pickford at Chelsea? Certainly he'd fit in with that kind of shithousery way and stuff like that and all. But yeah, Jordan Pickford, a goalkeeper in the Premier League that's highly thought of and probably highly sought off as well. Conor Gallagher kind of in limbo at the moment in relation to his contract. Talk that he might be going to Aston Villa. Read story there tonight. Potentially he's being linked with a move to Aston Villa. Aston Villa looking to really get business done early as they prepare for the Champions League, but don't want things to spill over too far into the Euros and stuff like that. Emery's kind of he's very good that way of getting signings in and stuff like that. So hats off to him. Arsenal have been told to blow their whole transfer budget on Alexander Isak and Bruno Guimaraes. Let me know your thoughts on that. How would you feel if they were the two boys that came in? Full time there, just gone there full time. I see Adamida there talking to John O'Shea. I have to say, the Aviva Stadium on telly looks absolutely electric, doesn't it? But that's a big win for Ireland, 2-1 against Hungary. Do them no harm at all and stuff like that. And then they have the match up next week, haven't they? Where they're playing Portugal as well. I often find as well with these friendly internationals, obviously the teams want to get them in prior to the Euros and stuff like that and all, but I often find at the end of a real long season where you've been playing lots of international football, lots of club football and all this, how they just don't head off after the end of the league, or if you're in the FA Cup or the Champions League and just head off, where you're still here playing games. That man in the picture there now, Will Smallbone, who's had a real long season. He's been brilliant at Southampton. And he's also, he went through the playoffs. You know, he made a big part of the promotional playoffs and winning the promotion and all that kind of stuff. So he's had a tough season. So I'd say the last thing he wants to be doing is playing international friendlies and stuff like that. Edu linking up Rafinha for 70 million. Again, I don't see that happening. Don't see how that would work. Isaac Toney, we need a striker. We also need a right winger to compete with Saka. We need 2 more midfielders, a left back, and a keeper. Wow, that's quite a list, isn't it? Your keeper that you're looking for, I presume your keeper, you're going to keep Ray as number 1, so your keeper would be your number 2 to replace Ramsdale, I would imagine. Is what you're thinking there. Left back. Who's left back at the moment? Who plays there? Tomiyasu. You've Tomiyasu. Zinchenko. Talk of Zinchenko being linked with Bayern as well, wasn't there? I seen that there the other day as well. So that would be interesting as well. So who would you bring in there? And of course, you'll have to make the decision on Tierney, won't you, as well? Can see him coming back in, especially with some of the things he's been saying during Arteta's reign. Anyway, that's for sure. But that's quite a list, Kyle. That's interesting. It's a lot of work to be done this summer if that's the case, you know. Who do you think will go on the plane off the Reds team, Niall? To England, I presume. The England squad, I presume you're talking about that. Probably only Trent. He could potentially, I was looking at the selection of Joe Gomez there the other night, and Joe Gomez might not be a bad selection in terms of he can play any position across the back. You know, and he could probably also do a job in midfield if he had to, but he's quite versatile, Joe Gomez. So Joe Gomez could be like when you're going to tournaments like this, you need a kind of you need your core group of players who play their positions, but you also need a player that you can call on there if you have a problem. And we know Joe can play left back, he can play right back, he can play centre back, he can invert in times and all that kind of stuff. He's quite a versatile player and stuff like that. And to have a player like that in your squad at times works really, really well, you know, and it gives you those options. Hats off to Will Smallbone getting player of the match. He's had a fantastic season. Really looking forward to seeing him next year in the Prem at Southampton. It's going to be very, very interesting. But yeah, Trent, sounds like he's going to bring Trent anyway, listening to Southgate, doesn't it? Sounds like Trent's kind of a shoe in there. The conversation really is about, you know, defending as opposed to being in midfield and what way Garrett wants to use him and stuff like that. But if you look at Trent last night, wasn't it, against Bosnia, outstanding. Outstanding. I've seen a couple of videos today of his distribution last night and how he sees those passes and the way he puts those balls on the play for people. Incredible. And it'd be mad to take that out of the team, because that's what you need when you're digging in some of those matches in the group and in the knockout stage and stuff like that. It's a ball from Trent there that can open up a team and stuff like that. He was outstanding last night. I think Saliba at the minute is in the top 5 centre-backs in the world. He should be number 1 pick for France. He'll be gone to Madrid next summer. Potentially, yeah. That's my view as well. I think he should be the number 1 centre-back of France, especially with the season he's had and stuff like that. And certainly, Kanate and Upamecano have been horrific this season, especially Upamecano. He's been terrible. If he's not getting red carded, he's giving away stupid decisions, or he's been out injured. Really, really poor. And then if you look at Kanate, he's had such an indifferent season with Kwanzaa at times keeping him out of the side and stuff like that. And I'm not too upset about that. Big Jarrell Kwanzaa fan. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Man City should go back to League One. Interesting, Dave. You seen it today? Did you? Did you read? Did you get to read the court case? That's the arbitration that's starting next week. Very interesting. Some interesting points they raise on it. A little bit prickly, I'd say. But it's going to be interesting to see how next week goes because next week could be the prelude for what's coming in November. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, we're going to see now, have the Premier League got the stomach for this? They opened up Pandora's box. Are they going to close it again or are they going to see it through? Interesting to see. Acer Southgate last night press conference said that Rashford is going to Germany. Interesting. I can see why that's the case because he can come on and he can do a job, and on his day he can be unbelievable. But let's see what happens. Certainly, he hasn't had the season to justify it. The season by Marcus Rashford standards has been horrific. I mean, at times he's been kept out of the Man United side by kids. So how does that justify? But then we know with Southgate, he doesn't necessarily pick players based on form and stuff like that. No, look at Maguire. He always picks Maguire when Maguire wasn't even playing for Man United. In fairness to Maguire, put in some performances for England. He was my man of the match last night, Trent. Absolutely, 100%. Raya number 2. Raya drops to number 2 then, does he, with Ramsdale going? So you're looking for a number 1. Interesting. So who'd come in then as number 1? Who's your target then for number 1, Kyle? Who are you thinking? Who are you thinking number 1 for keeper at Arsenal? That'd be very interesting. Maybe that's the change. Is that the change that maybe Jose Sa's looking for? Would you take Jose Sa in there as number 1 with Ray as number 2? Is Ray going to be okay as number 2? That would be very interesting because I know Ray, that was his major problem originally, wasn't it? That he just wasn't getting the game time. England were absolutely poor in the first half. They were, yeah, and then it opened up. Madrid wants Trent. Of course they do, but look, we shall see. Eno's in. What's the crack, Niall? All good, Eno. Good seeing my friend. All good. What else have we got for you? Jared Bowen. Arnie Slot's wildcard. Potentially if Mohamed Salah leaves Liverpool. Let me know your thoughts on that. Liverpool, I'm kind of staring away from doing a Liverpool show at the moment because I just think it's a madness. We haven't really introduced our manager. There's just lots of hearsay going around. I wanted to get the whole Jurgen Klopp thing out of the way and get it done. But it'll be interesting to see what way Arnie Slot and what's the proposals there. We know Richard Hughes is working on a number of upgrades for the squad. But I think our window this season really hinges on whether Mo Salah stays or goes in terms of finances and all that kind of stuff. But we have been linked with your man Johan Bakayoko. I think Darren spoke about him on the show there a couple of weeks ago, that he might potentially be a player that we'd want to bring in. And also Jared Bowen potentially off West Ham. Now, are either going to be an upgrade or in there? We know we're linked with Kudus as well. And we've also been linked with Elise as well. The talk is we are going to go in and we are going to test Crystal Palace's mettle with a 55 or 60 million pound bid for Elise. So let's see what way that goes as well. But that's most of your transfer news is in there. Richarlison, talk about him going to the Saudi Pro League with a bid in excess of 60 million. Spurs will probably take that. He hasn't really set the world alight, to be honest. So that's the only other kind of bit of news out there at the moment. Man City, we'll probably cover Man City. What we'll do is we'll cover it on Thursday because we'll let the dust settle on what's being proposed and stuff like that, because a lot of people are thinking it's heavily related to 115 and all that, which it isn't. It's totally different. There's subtle little links in there that could change things and stuff, but not really directly related to it and stuff like that. So what we'll do is we'll investigate a bit further and discuss it fully on Thursday. I will be back tomorrow night, of course, with Pro Wrestling Weekly. We're going to be talking Forbidden Door. We're going to be talking about Clash at the Castle. We'll do a quick Raw recap, as we always do, on all the latest pro wrestling news. Lots of stuff coming out to speak about, including that interview on Busted Open Radio with Swerve, and Bubba Ray Dudley got a little bit prickly about what's a PLE and what's a pay-per-view. Bubba Ray, obviously the consummate professional when he was on there as well, but I'm sure after the interview he was grinding his teeth about it. So we will discuss that as well, as always, anything new that comes out. Is Klopp's documentary out yet? No, that won't be out. I'd say they normally drop them sort of in August and stuff like that, and also. Yeah, but it will be interesting. I tell you what I did watch, guys. I watched that Aaron Carter, isn't it? Nick and Aaron Carter documentary. I tell you, man, that's rough. Rough as a bag of chisels, man. Check that one out. Crazy, crazy stuff. Daz, what are you doing for the Euros? Anything yet sorted, Noel? We're just going to be doing, we'll probably just do review and preview shows and stuff like that. Nothing major. I was going to go through some of the groups tonight with Mark and stuff like that, but we'll hold off and do a bit of it on Thursday with Darren because there's no point. It's still early days and stuff like that. It's the kick off and all that kind of thing and stuff. So we will be giving our predictions. We'll give our predictions both for the groups and then kind of give our predictions again on kind of who we think is going to get to the final and all that kind of good stuff. And we'll track that on a weekly basis as the matches go by. And I'll give little updates, obviously, on a daily basis, little videos in relation to the Euros and what's going on, all that kind of good stuff. So, folks, if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like on the video, keep all that good stuff going. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Obviously, Marky not here, but he will be back next week. He loves the shows and all that kind of stuff. Tomorrow night, join me 8 o'clock, Pro Wrestling Weekly. We'll run you down through all the latest pro wrestling news. Get your thoughts on everything. And then Thursday, I'll be back with Darren 9 o'clock. That 9 o'clock slot, make sure you have that bell notification hit. I will be back with Darren 9 o'clock Thursday, and we will go through again all the latest news, including that Man City stuff today. We'll talk a little bit about the Euros. We'll talk a little bit about transfers and everything in between. And we might even cover a little bit of wrestling at the same time as well. And as Eno says, we are over and out. And Daz is here. If anyone wants to join the FPL like Mark or Dazzler, you can give them my pin. Absolutely. Send it on to me, Daz. Send it on to me, Daz. The boys would love to join that. They're all fantasy league lads, you know that. Did you see Drew McIntyre at WWE putting CM Punk face on the big screens? I did. I seen it. Your man there with the iPad doing it and stuff like that. Drew McIntyre, he's an absolute shill, isn't he, at times? But great to see it, obviously, and stuff like that and all, you know. So until next time, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like on the video, and we will talk to you again real soon. What's all this? Jumping in at the end, loser pill, huh? Chelsean. Loser pill. Here I am talking up your club earlier, and this is the respect I get. Get out of here. Talk to you again real soon. Cheers.